This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
There's just one place where you can drive the new 2025 Acura RDX for only $399 a month. The Customer Appreciation Sale at Acura of Pembroke Pines. Thank you for making us #1.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
It starts every morning before the sun comes up. Projects are laid out. Plans are made. Equipment is fueled and loaded with inventory to handle all service requests. Orders are given to an army of skilled landscape maintenance professionals, certified arbor trimmers, irrigation technicians, and licensed pest management experts who fan out to communities and businesses all over South Florida. Experienced, on time, and dependable. Our staff is fully trained, licensed, and insured. Contact us by phone, email, social media, or through our website to answer all your landscape questions. We are Cutter's Edge. Total Landscape Solutions.
We're celebrating a new year with new savings at Toyota of Hollywood, the official #1 volume Toyota dealer. Save big on a 24 Corolla, not $24,000, $17,988. Buy with 0% financing, 0 down. We're bringing you deals that strike fast and hard at the #1 volume Toyota dealer, Toyota of Hollywood, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welton Ray Dolphins. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welton Ray Dolphins can help. After 40 years, the Big Cheese Miami is still producing great Italian food. They started in 1984. Since then, they've been winning awards while being voted the best inexpensive Italian restaurant in Miami. Visit them for great food, amazing service. Witness the decades of Cane's memories. The walls are like a Miami Hurricanes Hall of Fame. The Big Cheese delivers anything on its menu or party platter menu to your home, office, or even a park for a picnic. Located at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, Miami. Call 305-662-6855. TheBigCheeseMiami.com, where they serve large portions at family prices.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Before you buy or lease a Honda, Volkswagen, Hyundai, or any other model, compare Subaru, rated #1 in safety at Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Buy with 0.9% financing, 0 down. Forester with symmetrical all-wheel drive, $259 a month. Crosstrek with symmetrical all-wheel drive, $239 a month. During the Subaru A Lot to Love event at Subaru of Pembroke Pines, South Florida's #1 volume Subaru retailer.
When it comes to selling your home, efficiency is the best way, the less stress way. That's why Asmani Garcia and the Omega Home Realty Group is who you want to call. Sell your home for just $990. That's right, $990. No 6% commission. Asmani and Omega are the exclusive program director for just $990 in South Florida. Get full service real estate services like pro photos, beautiful brochures, Zillow and Alex, Realtor.com and Homes.com listings. Call Asmani to find out more at 305-440-1990. Scan the QR code or visit just990.com to get started. Omega Home Realty Group and Asmani Garcia are ready to present your home to thousands of prospective buyers. Call 305-440-1990. Call Asmani Garcia and tell him Big O sent you.
When it comes to your smile, confidence is so important. At Moody S Dental, they provide the services to get your smile back. This family-run practice prides itself by offering the latest technology to give your family the best experience possible. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years with offices in Hialeah and Plantation. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams, 20% off select treatments. To qualify, please follow us on Instagram at moodys.dental. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years. To schedule an appointment in Hialeah, call 305-821-0231 and Plantation 954-692-6825. From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back. Go to moodysdental.com to find out more and tell them Big O sent you.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors and Custom Drywall can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray or Mike, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors and Custom Drywall, 305-345-3649 or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
There's just one place where you can drive a new Acura ZDX for only $239 a month. The Customer Appreciation Sale at Acura of Pembroke Pines. Thank you for making us #1.
The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Oak Pines, where we were supposed to be last week, if I did not have that nasty-ass accident. I was just explaining it to Larry. He was right behind me. That's his office right behind us. I was just explaining it to him. He was like, every time I explained to somebody what happened to me, they're like, oh, shit, man. I better check myself how I get out of bed. I'm like, yeah, man. Take it easy. Is it they're saying no sound, or now is the thumbs up or what on the chat board there? Do we have sound? Okay, well, Steven Gonzalez says no sound, then he put up a thumbs up. So I guess we're good with sound. Okay. All right, we're good with sound. But anyway, so we are here at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 and Pines, where we've been broadcasting for 14 years. 14 years. It's pretty awesome. Pretty damn awesome. And thank you, Mr. Zinn. Appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, as always, for being a great sponsor of our program. All right, it is Friday, March 21st, 2025. Sean Stanley is by my side. David Furones will join us at the bottom of the hour. Manny Navarro will join us at the top of the hour. So we'll have a good time with those guys, and we'll talk a little Miami Dolphins, and we'll talk a little Miami Hurricanes with the great Manny Navarro. Panthers got it done last night against the Blue Jackets. Pretty good stuff. Yes, sir. And the Bob man was, again, phenomenal. 25 saves. And when you win 1-0, you are keeping it clean. And so we go with our Murias Dental Keeping It Clean segment.
Let's find out who's keeping it clean. Who shut out who kept their opponent from advancing or winning. Who had a clean performance? It's our Murias Dental Clean Sheet segment.
When it comes to keeping a clean and beautiful smile, call our friends at Murias Dental for an appointment. In Hialeah, 305-821-0231. In Plantation, 954-692-6825. Get your smile back at Murias Dental. Visit them on Instagram at murias.dental.
Now, let's find out who's keeping it clean.
Sergei Bobrovsky is keeping it clean with 25 saves. When they made the trade and they made the move to move Spencer Knight, and I'm going to trust Zito that he's going to have a capable backup or two, because they seem to always have a capable backup or two. Even in the years when Bob was first struggling, you know, a Chris Dreger got us into, wasn't it Dreger that they got off the minors, and he basically saved our asses down the stretch and got us into the playoffs, right? So I trust him. But part of making that trade is Bob has been playing out of his mind. And last night, again, nice job by the defense in front of him. He's not getting peppered with 40 shots. But the 25 shots and some amazing saves, you gotta give it up to Bob. The Panthers are 20-14-1 on the road. On the road. That's impressive, ladies and gentlemen. On the road, 20-14-1. And the reason you make the trade, one of the reasons why you are where you're at right now, why you feel confident that you can make a run for another Stanley Cup, Sergei Bobrovsky, man. Bob has been, now he, over the last couple of years here, he is now earning that salary you've been paying him. He is now the guy you need between the pipes. And when you make the moves you've made, and, Marchand also now joining the team, you know that this is the window. You've got to take advantage of it. You've got the goaltender, and now you got to make sure you complete it. And Bob last night, man, outstanding against his former team, which I believe he's undefeated. I believe he's undefeated this year against the Blue Jackets. I'm pretty sure of that. And that's why, Bob, and that's why you can keep it clean too by calling our friends at Moody S Dental in Dade, 305-821-0231. Remember, I go there. My wife goes there. My daughter goes there. My mother-in-law goes there. Our entire family's been going there for years. And I would never tell you to go somewhere or use a product that I wouldn't use myself. And that's the reason why I drive Acuras. I mean, it's just kind of, I drive Toyota. I mean, it's just I might end up driving a Subaru one day. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't tell you to do something that I wouldn't do myself. And that's why all my sponsors, whether it's Caneswear or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? R&M contractors, I am going to, these sponsors are the sponsors that I use. They're not just paying me to talk about it or anything like that. No, I've been going to Moody S Dental for years. That's why. So whether it's Invisaligns, dental implants, preventive care, cosmetic surgery, our family has experienced one or all of them at one point or another. And this is why I tell you, call Moody S Dental in Broward, by the way. They're in Plantation, 954-692-6825. That's 954-692-6825. Get your smile back at Moody S Dental and check them out on Instagram at moodius.dental.
This clean segment is brought to you by Moody S Dental.
Invisaligns, dental implants, preventative care, or cosmetic surgery. When it comes to keeping a clean and beautiful smile, get your smile back with our friends at Moody S Dental. Call for an appointment in Hialeah, 305-821-0231. In Plantation, 954-692-6825. Get your smile back at Moody S Dental. Visit them on Instagram at moodys.dental.
Folks, don't forget you can make a donation to the show Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And you can make a Bitcoin or Ethereum donation. Bitcoin hanging around 83.8, 83.9, 84,000. So great time to make a Bitcoin donation because, hey, man, nothing wrong with a little dip action, which is always a beautiful thing. Although the dip action in the market, wow, 427 points. The Dow is down. The S&P is down 47, and the NASDAQ is down up just over a point. So not a good day in the market. Although, remember what I told you that what they're trying to do is they're trying to lower the 10-year yield. Okay, the bond rate for the 10 years. And if you can't pull up that article I sent you, Sean, it's happening. So they need to refinance $9.2 trillion of our debt. And you saw Powell said yesterday that, the tariffs and all that are causing, some inflation concerns here and some worries. And so that's why they didn't change the rate. And I told you, remember that it's all about lowering the 10-year yield. That's what they're doing right now. And so that's what they're attempting to do. And he's being successful at it. And because they've got to refinance $9.2 trillion of our debt, they can't let it mature because we can't pay it off. So then they got to refinance it, but they're trying to refinance it at a lower rate. So by shocking the markets like they're doing now with the tariffs and all the other stuff going on, that's exactly what they're trying to do. Lower the yield rate so they can then refinance. And there it is right there. And it just shows you that, it's what I told you that's been going on for the last couple of weeks. And I told you before I had the concussion on the Crypto Bro Show, I told you that this is a standoff between Trump and Powell. And it's coming to fruition now. And so Powell hasn't flinched yet. And Trump's doing what he wants to do, which is shock the markets. Unfortunately, people will sell and panic and all that stuff. But that's what they're trying to do is lower that rate so they can refinance $9.2 trillion. So, it's some short-term pain and hopefully long-term gain when it's all said and done on the back end. We'll see.
We'll see. But anyway, just to give you a little heads up on that, if you're an investor, that tells you exactly what's going on. And we usually keep you abreast of all of that. What else? Remember, we are going to Spain. Well, we want to go to Spain. We want to go to Spain. Right now, we can only dream of it right now. We haven't even gotten to the first stage yet. You can make a donation. You can use that QR code there. Sean is putting up the billboard there so you can see. And we are trying to go to Spain. They say it might be the Bengals and the Dolphins, which would be cool. We would do our show all week long in Spain. And we would do our pre and post game and obviously break any news. Gave you a nugget yesterday, a little Dolphin nugget yesterday if you heard the show. So do all of that. And if you can help us get there, please make a donation. There's the QR code, whatever you can make, whatever donation you can make, 50 cents, $1, or whatever you can make. We appreciate it immensely. Thank you. Amanda Medeiros, thank you for the super chat. Morning, Big O. Are you worried about rust when Kachuk and Marshawn come back in the playoffs? You think Panthers make it back to the finals? Yes, I do make it back to the I do expect them to make it back to the finals, but I love it because Kachuk will be back and he'll be fresher because he'll have a lot of rest. Ekblad will be back. He'll have a lot of rest. Marshawn will be playing now anyway, so he'll get in a groove with them getting into the playoffs. But I love the Ekblad suspension. I freaking love it. This team is good enough to win without these guys. That's how good they are because they have other stars. You see, like the Heat only had one star. They traded him away, and then now they have nothing. As we've been telling you for a while now that those guys aren't stars. But, hey, whatever. It is what it is. But that's not how it goes with the Panthers. They have legit stars, like several. So if a guy misses, there's 3 other guys to pick it up. Sam Bennett, star. Verhaeghe, he'll be a star in key moments like always. Barkov, superstar. I mean, it's stupid. Bob, star. It just goes on and on and on. So then when you start adding Kachuk and Marshawn and all this, it's just ridiculous. And you got young guys like Samaskevich and Lundell and all that. I mean, come on, man. It's this team is just stupid. It's just ridiculous. Real stars, real cojones. So I got to tell you, Amanda, I have 0 reservations about these Florida Panthers. 0. They are tough. They are, skillful. They got character. They got grit. They sacrifice. It doesn't matter who the hell it is. You know, and that's great because a guy like Seth Jones gets here and that's what he's all about. And he sees he's going to see a Kachuk throw his body across the floor for blocking a shot. I mean, you know, it's just yesterday. What was it? It was Forsling had like a 105-mile-an-hour shot or some shit like that. Did you see that? Oh man, I retweeted it. It's on my Twitter page. Here we go. I'll get it right now. Gustav Forsling. Here we go. Gustav Forsling unleashed a 105-mile-per-hour slap shot. Gustav Forsling's first period blast was clocked at 105 miles an hour, which marked the second hardest shot tracked in the NHL Edge era since the 21-22 season, behind Tage Thompson, who had 106 back in December 31st of 2024. And Gustav Forsling is not a star, but Jesus Christ, that son of a bitch is awesome. He helps in everything, dude. He does anything and everything that you need. defends and he scores and he sacrifices and he puts his body out there and everything that the Miami Heat isn't, the Panthers are. Everything. So I got to tell you, Amanda, they have top-notch ownership. They have top-notch general manager. They have a top-notch head coach, and they've got a roster top to bottom that just has every characteristic you need to win. And they play like you need to play in the playoffs. That was the thing that was the most frustrating part about our Panthers in the past. They had no toughness. They would get punched in the mouth and they would go nowhere, Amanda. Now they're going to punch you back several more times. So you're better off not even trying to punch. In fact, be ready because they're probably going to throw the first punches. And that's a whole different ballgame. So I have no concerns. No concerns whatsoever. Let's see. John Padilla's checking in from the Bay Area. NorCal says Tyreek cut his hair saying he's making changes this year. How long will... every week he's got something stupid to say because since he's a knucklehead, he really doesn't know how to be a professional, so he needs all these stupid little things to try to motivate him from week to week and whatever, or get attention from people. I mean, it's just better off not even paying attention to him at all. Do you think the Heat will break the losing streak tonight? No, they won't. They'll lose to the Rockets tonight. Rockets are favored by 5.5. They're a better team. I would say no. I'll say it's 10 straight. So let's see. Roderick Freeman. I know it's tough to win back-to-back Stanley Cups, but I think we have the team with the mentality and the tenacity to do it. I agree. Skylar Tipton says, morning. Oh, and all, the wife and I just signed in a new apartment in Chicago right by the lake. There you go. Summer's going to be sweet. Good for you guys. Congratulations. Enjoy. Frankie Fresco, thank you, sir. Big O, do you think the U.S. national team will ever succeed in football? Also, go Gators in March Madness. No, I don't know if they will ever succeed. You know, it's, Frankie, we have a screwed up system all throughout in soccer where we don't have the best players playing soccer all over. There's some that are getting better. And this promotion relegation from the USL, I think, is a great idea. And we need to stop with the entitlement bullshit that we have in soccer, where it's all the rich mommies and daddies that are getting the kids to play. But it doesn't mean just because they're getting them through these academies and taking them on all these travel teams. Do you know how expensive these travel teams are? Well, you got kids, right? So, you know. But
that's why they don't play in travel.
Right, exactly. And so in soccer, it's like tennis, like super expensive. But in soccer, it's become like it's more the people that are privileged are getting the opportunities, but it doesn't mean that those kids are the most talented. And what we don't do is build soccer academies in lesser neighborhoods, which, you know, baseball is expensive, dude. Everybody's got to buy a glove and all that kind of shit. And football, you need pads and helmets, and it's expensive. Soccer's not expensive. It's 2 goals and a ball. And let's play. That's it. It's not that expensive, and we don't do any of that. And so we have to improve our system. Our system is for the entitled. It's not necessary. We're not funneling in the best talent. And so if we actually open soccer academies in all kinds of, you know, areas where kids have no opportunities and there's some pretty damn good athletes, but they end up playing football and basketball, I think you might end up finding more American talent, and then you'll find more elite talent too on top of all of that. That's how we'll improve. We have to improve our system from where it starts, from the bottom up. And then we can get to the point where the national team is getting the best of the best, and you're creating a real competitive system. And they have that everywhere else in the world. We do everything ass backwards. They have it right, as you know, Frankie, in soccer everywhere else. We do it wrong because we do everything the American way. And that's great for football, and that's great for baseball, and that's great for basketball. But in soccer, it's a different sport, and you've got to try to become more of the European and Central American and South American model. And I think the USL's movement to that, I think, is very important in that sense, because maybe that will give you an opportunity that instead of just the privileged, maybe you will get an opportunity to get the best to actually play your sport. Lord knows there's a lot of money in there. I mean, Jesus Christ, what are we going to say? You can't make money in soccer? Yeah, you can make a lot of money in soccer. So, let's see. Amanda says Gustav Forsling is a superstar. To us, he is. I got to tell you, he's one of my favorite players to watch because, God, he brings it and he helps in everything, dude. Everything. He's so awesome to watch. True Finfen says, I can't watch soccer, just don't like the sport. Hockey, yeah, that sport got me. Soccer, you have to appreciate, the problem is for the general fan is, there's not enough scoring. Well, that's kind of the idea. It's not an easy thing to do, to score, and so it's a matter of you have to take a different perspective. You can't take a American point of view of sports where scoring is, a must. And if you don't score, like some people are bored with a 1-0, 2-1 baseball game. They'd rather have a 9-7 baseball game, a 10-4 baseball game. Not me. I actually like the 1-0 game and the 2-1 game. Why? Yeah, there isn't a lot of scoring, but every hit, every pitch means everything because it could change the face of the game. That's soccer. That's football. You score, and that could change. That could be the end of the game right there, 1-0. And so it adds a lot to it. And you have to then turn it around and appreciate that you're not using your hands, you're using your feet. And to be able to put the passes that they put to each other, and to not catch it with your hands, but bring it down with your foot to then place it and kick it. These are things that you have to grow to appreciate the skill set that it takes to play that game, and to do some of the things that people do with their arms, with their feet. Once you recalibrate, which is a new word of mine, since that's what I got to do getting out of bed. Once you recalibrate how you look and appreciate the sport, and you don't compare it to what we're so programmed with in American sports, then you'll come to appreciate soccer and what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? But that's, again, may never happen for you, but until you take that kind of attitude where you take an appreciation for how difficult it is to do what they do, it's kind of like hockey in a way, that you take it for granted, them handling that puck, the way they pass it to each other at 67 miles an hour, and one guy just handles it like nothing, and it just keeps going. And you're like, you really take that for granted. You go try to do that yourself, and you're like, what the fuck, man? How do you do that? It's just highlight. It might be boring to you, but brother, catching that ball in that cesta at 150 miles an hour, it's just, that ain't easy. And that's where you have sometimes in sports, because of the the changes of it, you then have to kind of recalibrate and then appreciate what that sport is and what it's all about and how difficult it is, whether it's soccer, whether it's hockey, whether it's highlight. The level of difficulty is just out of this world. The other thing I would add with soccer too is appreciate the physicality of it, because a lot of people think, oh, it's not physical. Bro, watch it. It's very physical, extremely physical. But hey, to each his own, and we're all not going to, we're all not going to fall in love with the same sports. Let's see, what else do we have here? Problem with a person like Reek is he's always been a superstar and probably has never been held accountable for his actions his entire life. Just my opinion. Well, and we still don't. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kyle. Of course, you would like this hat. Caspa Kyle. By the way, Kyle, since you are the Caspa man, I've been thinking about this, okay? His name is Kyle Cockrell, right? Shouldn't it be Cockrell with a K, since he's the Caspa guy? Right. You know what I'm saying? So, Kyle, since you're the Caspa guy, should be Cockrell with a K. Just to, just to stay uniform. Kyle Caspa Cockrell with a K. I'm just saying. I was thinking about that. I do a lot of thinking, a lot of useless thinking, but I do it. Rosendo says soccer is part of the European and Latin American culture. Sorry, but soccer is a sport that most find boring and slow when it comes to an offensive scoring. It's not part of the American culture. No, it's not. That's why you have to recalibrate and go to the other point of it. Appreciate the difficulty of scoring. Appreciate the rarity of scoring. So when you score, that's why the celebration goes on, because that may be the only score, or there's only going to be a couple of scores in the entire game. So since there's only going to be a couple of scores, that's kind of the way the game is played. Let's see. Kyle says, I really don't think people realize how much of an opportunity they have with Caspa. Yep, I know. I'm with you. I've loaded up myself, my brother. Amanda again chiming in. Imagine if Bill Zito gets a hold of the Dolphins GM job. I know he's a Panthers GM, but gosh dang it, he gets it. Yeah. Well, I doubt he could do a job just like, we always used to say that with Pat Riley. Can Pat Riley run this for us instead, It's fun to say, I just wish they would have gotten a better coach, to be quite honest. That's to me the biggest problem with the Miami Dolphins is who's the head coach. And that's where I think you end up falling short when it's all said and done. Okay. By the way, we're here at Craig Zinn's, Acura of Pembroke Pines, 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. I was just talking right now to Larry Schlossberg. He is right behind me, actually. So come on out here and see Larry Schlossberg, Pat Nasto, Tony Stampone, all the great people out here at Craig Zinn's, Acura of Pembroke Pines. And they've got the Spring into Performance sales event going on. You got to check out the new ADX. It is a beautiful model, has 190 horsepower. It is an awesome vehicle. It looks beautiful. $359 a month right now, the lease feature. You can check it out. Just arrived. Brand new model, by the way. 2025 Integra, $339 a month, 3.9% financing for 60 months. The ZDX 2024 model. We still have a few of those. $439 a month, 0% financing for 72 months. The RDX $399 a month, the 2025 model. And by the way, we've got a special low financing rate. So come on out here, check it out. Ask the boys. They'll get it done for you. The MDX Tech 2025 model will take $10,000 off the MSRP. Come on down here. The selection is amazing. The cars are overflowing. I've got a lot here of certified pre-owned vehicles right in front of me. They look like they're brand new. A bunch of the ZDXs, so you could get electrified. And the ZDX, man, that thing is beautiful. That thing is sharp. So come on out here. Tell them that Big O sent you at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. And David Furones is next.
All rise, football fans, as the Welton Ray Miami Dolphins report with David Furones is in session.
Welton Ray has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Furones.
Right. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
Feeling good. It's a Friday. We got March Madness going. Excited about that. Even though I didn't pay attention to college basketball all season, but then all of a sudden I just love it once we get to the tournament. And actually going to be going to Orlando this weekend. So a little bit after I get off with you, I'll just drive up.
Okay, that's good. I don't watch much. If it's not the University of Miami or FAU or Nova Southeastern, I'm usually not really watching much college. I watch our local teams because, hey, I care about my local teams. And I know FAU at least got to the NIT. But it just, yeah, man. College basketball, see, you're young. You actually missed the good shit. Like, you missed, like, when guys were around for 3 to 4 years in college basketball, and we had rivalries and stuff. We had real stars in the NBA. That was, I mean, in college basketball, that was fun when Michael Jordan would play 3 or 4 years, or Patrick Ewing, or whatever it was. You know what I mean? That when you were able to get those real stars, unlike now that, you know, the top kids are either going to Europe and then coming back, or they go one and done. They go for 1 year, and really they're there for their freshman year, which was back in college basketball when it was loaded. That freshman would sit, dude. He couldn't play because the seniors and the juniors were taking over at that point. The real stars, you know, were taking over at that point. That's where I miss college basketball, dude. That's when college basketball was just monstrous.
Right. I saw a lot of the one and done era, but then also, like starting mid 90s, I guess, when it was KG in 95 and Kobe in 96. And then it just kept growing where everyone was going straight from high school to the pros. Then it was kind of like, all right, guys are just skipping that entirely. But then it was like 04, 05. Then they had the rule where you had to go for one season of college. So then you had the one and dones, like John Calipari. Everyone he had was a one and done type of guy. Nowadays, you might get guys that are there 3, 4, 5, even 6 years because of the COVID season is still like in their 4-year or their college tenure. But you end up having them go to 3 different schools or something. Like I'm seeing guys that I just saw last night. Like, oh, that guy is over here now. You know, like. Like the FAU kid.
The FAU kid is in Florida. The FAU kid, I'm forgetting the guard. He was at the Final Four with FAU 2 years ago, and now he's with Florida.
Yeah, I'm
forgetting his damn name now, but anyway, so it's funny like that you know.
Well, also John L. Davis, I was just seeing with Arkansas,
right,
and the big is with Dusty May at Michigan.
Right.
Yeah,
it's just it's wacky. It's just it's not the same, dude. It sucks that college basketball has gotten to that. So yeah, I'm with you. I barely watch it unless it's our local teams, and I don't know much about it. So even betting, it's like I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. So it's just one of those where I'm not that excited. The Benito Jones return. You know where I tripped out on the Benito Jones? Did you watch the video that the Dolphins posted yesterday on Benito?
What the Dolphins posted on Benito.
Yeah.
What was that? Refresh my memory.
They posted a video yesterday, and they put like just moments of Benito being a good teammate. You know what I mean? Like
okay.
And it's kind of like when you return like that, you would like a highlight reel of big plays. You get my point now, what I'm trying to get at? Like, you made a real, and Benito's a nice rotational player. Maybe, listen, defensive tackles are funny. Some of them take years to develop into a good player, and maybe this year he really busts out. You know what I'm saying? But I just kind of found it funny that, they welcome him back and they show a video constant of him of just like, being a good teammate, being a good person on the field. But it's not a reel of a whole bunch of plays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, he is a nose tackle, so it's not like he's going to have a bunch of flashy plays that stand out on video. His job is to consume double teams in the middle and try to stuff some runs. And, he plays about half the game snaps, starts a lot of the time because usually you're going to start in a base defense, a run-stopping defense before then you go to your nickel where you're going to spend most of your time nowadays in NFL defenses. But also, I think that's just a social media team that has a collection of all this video.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we haven't used any of this shit. Like, he's coming back and we have all this stuff showing his great personality. Let's just, content dump it right now. This is the time.
Yeah, I just would like to see a player or two there. Just not him being high-fiving and being a good teammate. It's okay. That's nice, but we're trying to play football here, and just show the fat guy throwing somebody to the side and stuffing a running back and putting him on his ass just once. Just do that.
Yeah. There had to be a few tackles in there. There had to be a few.
No, there were none. There were none.
Or the famous clip is Calais Campbell in his ear. Like, what was it, the Cleveland game? He was getting pumped up, just staring right at him. Wouldn't look away.
Yeah. By the way, I told the folks that he ain't coming back. He's done. If he comes back, he'll be a Baltimore Raven. He will not be a Miami Dolphin.
Yeah, that's the feel I get. Which, I mean, it just makes sense from his perspective. If he wants to win a championship before he goes, and he really counts age 39 season as this is my last, I'm not going to be playing into 40, then the Ravens have a much better shot. So, and he's already got the chemistry there, the previous experience in that system. So, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, it's and they're pretty much prepared in the building that he ain't coming back. So he's there's people in the building already that feel like he'll be a Raven eventually. So, and he's actually going to command a decent salary, not like huge money, but he'll command a decent salary because you're not just paying for the player, you're also paying for the person and the leader in the locker room, which is just effing priceless. What you get with him on the field, in the locker room, and all that kind of stuff. He's the whole package. So I think I think he'll be a Baltimore Raven when it's all said and done.
Oh my God, he is like the way Udonis Haslem was at the end of his Heat career with that part, but he actually plays and brings you value to your defense. So it's like both of those things combined. It's like he is a Udonis Haslem for the locker room that the Heat for so many years were willing to just have on the roster because he's an extra coach and presence for the rest of the team. But on top of that, he's actually playing at a very high level at this stage in his career, which is just remarkable. He's really just like a human. You marvel at him that he's doing in a game like football at that age.
And he makes a bigger impact than UD at this time because he does play. Yeah. I think UD's impact waned and was diminishing because in the end, dude, as the generation turns, you're not on the court anymore helping, and they don't even know who you are anymore. That was years ago when you were helping. And so you were distancing yourself from that time. So the back end of those years with UD, this guy's different. This guy can talk the talk and then he walks the walk. So there's like, holy shit, this guy's way older than I am and he's outperforming me. I better get my ass in gear. That's the kind of stuff that Calais Campbell brings to the table, so it's super special, man. And that's why I think in the building, they know that they're going to be paying for that character and that leadership from Baltimore, or if somebody else wants to really offer up more money, that's a contender. Then I can see him going somewhere else. But I think he's going to be a Baltimore Raven when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and to your point, I could see that in maybe what Deshaun Hand was able to do last year, where he really elevated his play from as good as he was since he came into the league as a mid-round draft pick. So he had some down seasons. Maybe it was like to the point of being a fringe roster player, and then last year he elevated his play to the point of being like a fringe starter and key contributor, rotating in on the defensive line. And I think it's no coincidence that he was actually pretty close to Calais Campbell in the locker room. They weren't that far apart. And then when Calais would maybe come back to his locker out of the shower, whatever the case may be, then they were always interacting as he was on his route, maybe just like 3-4 lockers away. So I think there's no coincidence that there's a lasting impact that being in the same positional group in the same room, close to him in the locker room, has on a player like Deshaun Hand, who then was able to cash in a little bit with a contract of his own with the Chargers. But definitely Calais Campbell, he deserves all of that. Whatever he has coming to him in terms of a contract, if it's with the Baltimore Ravens, then he deserves that chance to get paid more than he made last year, because the Dolphins got him for a steal for everything he provides. And then also he deserves that shot to really contend for a Super Bowl with a true contender like the Ravens.
Yeah. What was the funniest reaction you got from one of your readers on Liam Eichenberg re-signing with the team? Just wondering.
Oh my God. I can't even think of that. It was because it's just the quantity of them, just the outpouring of a bunch of people chiming in. But hey,
does he realize how disliked he is by the Dolphin community? Because there are a few players in the history of the Dolphin Nation that I remember being hated as much as Liam Eichenberg. I mean, he is right up there with Jerry Wilson. He's right up there with Paul Langford. He's right up there with Noah Igbenogany. I mean, there is like serious hate for this guy. Like Jesse Davis. It gets to a point with certain guys that like fans like really want to ride him. And does he realize like how much he is not trusted by Dolphins?
I feel like he must actually be disconnected from that side of things, but still there must be people that he knows that are on top of what's being said about him on social media and get back to him. Like that's the same way it was for Tua, where even when he would always say, I really don't pay attention to any of that stuff. But I mean, he's got people telling him what's going on, and his friends and family and people who have been with him, they got to be seeing this. So it's really interesting to me because you see his announcement from the Dolphins of we're bringing back Liam Eichenberg, and it's just all negativity from fans up and down the comments. So it's like it's impossible not to see it. And some of us beat writers, we were actually even surprised, like, oh my God, they did the whole thing with the announcement the same way they do all the other free agents. Like any incoming free agent from the outside, there is a bunch of excitement about here's our new guy. Like look at who we're getting in him. They highlight all the positives in his play, but this is someone who the Dolphins fans have seen through their own eyes and have not been appreciative of this play. But for all the negativity there is amongst the fan base, I will say in the building, it's like a different sort of basis for analyzing his play. Like coaches do not view it the same way. Teammates like all love him on the offensive line. Like you talk to other linemen, like Rob Jones, who's now gone, and I remember he was like I would talk to him about Liam, and he would just love everything about him, the way he chirps on the field and gets into an opposing defender's head and things like that. And I think they really value how versatile he is, having played all 5 positions on the offensive line. Granted, not playing them all very well most of the time, but I think, he started last year. I think you already got one starting guard in James Daniels, although, Rob Jones is gone, so there's still another spot. We still don't know what's happening with Isaiah Wynn, although he was sort of passing Eichenberg late last year. And still, you have this draft where you got to imagine.
You got to draft somebody, bro.
In that first round, one of those linemen, they got to be there. And you even have the draft capital later in the draft to move up if you really like one particular guy and you want to move up. So you got to figure another starter is found there with one of those top draft picks the Dolphins had. Probably in the first, I would hope the first, but if there's someone they can't pass up or they feel they can't pass up in the first, maybe that second round pick. But you got to find another starting lineman that can contribute right away at guard and then maybe move to tackle later in those early rounds.
What are you liking at 13 then?
Yeah, I mean, any of those linemen, if it's Will Campbell, who can maybe now you're in position where he drops a little bit because Armand Membu had a better combine.
I like him. I like him. That's the guy I would want at 13, Membu.
Yeah.
Would be my first pick.
Yeah, but now I don't think he's going to last there because his combine was just so sensational. So he boosted his stock there. So there's those two. Kelvin Banks from Texas would be phenomenal. So which he doesn't have the guard playing experience, but he feels comfortable. He could do it. I remember talking to him at the combine, and he was saying as much. And not only that, Texas's offense was so similar to what the Dolphins ran under Mike McDaniel that it should be a seamless transition for him into the NFL, given those similarities. So any of those linemen, I would love. I know there's also some momentum for one of the safeties if it's Malachi Starks. But I don't know if 13 feels like it might be a little too high for him. And I don't know if the Dolphins would look at a safety as a position.
God, I hope not.
Yeah.
God, I hope not. For a team that needs help in the trenches, both sides of the line, I would not do that at all, man. And I really like the guards. Some of them are tackle guard combination guys that are there at 13. So, you mentioned 3 of them right there. And I think if you can land one of those, I think you'd be pretty fortunate.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to pass up any of those guys. But we also know Greer is going to take his best player available. So if that's, say, like Michigan cornerback Will Campbell, then it might very well be him. So, yeah, it could go. I'm sorry, I just said Will Campbell, the lineman.
I know you mean.
The Michigan cornerback in the draft.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Will Johnson.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's all good. Martinez would be a kid I would love for the Dolphins to get somewhere in the 3rd or 4th rounds. To get a power running back. I think it's important, man, that they add themselves a power running back to this group. I don't know if they will. Just like, hey, look, I like the Ikeen kid that they got, the big receiver. I don't know if they'll use him. That's a whole different ball game. I love the pickup by the front office, but I don't know if the head coach is actually going to figure out to use him. And I don't know if he would use the big back, but I would like a big back to be a part of this mix.
Yeah, big back. They did go with Alexander Madison there. So he's got I know a lot of his metrics don't really stand out, and he struggled a lot as far as producing yards per carry. But one area where he is strong at is just punching in that 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, where in his career he's converted 16 of 19 on those specific instances. So I wonder if he is just here for that play alone because
and see, you get a Martinez, he can run the goddamn ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you could just leave him in for a series or two where you're just pounding the hell out of people. And that's where I think, again, you got to have, I hope that I hope Mike McDaniel figures out that if he doesn't become a physical team up front, they've got no chance to save their asses. They'll be fired at the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, and then also the development of Jalen Wright plays into that, where they had him last year. They even traded up to get him. So remember, this is why they don't have a third-round pick of their own this year. They don't pick until the compensatory part at the end of the third round because of this. So it was to acquire Jalen Wright in last year's draft. So that would be a huge indictment if second year in he's still not contributing. And I know last year
but he's taking over for Mostert, so it'll be him and Achane instead. So that'll be the 1-2 punch. But I'm saying that third back should be a bruiser, somebody that can also carry the ball, not just a specialist, which is what you're saying. Even though Madison wasn't a specialist with the Vikings. Okay, forget the Raiders. If you remember Alexander Madison with the Vikings, he was actually an all-around back for them, if I remember correctly.
When Dalvin Cook, whenever he would get hurt, then it was bad. And he was a huge fantasy football name. If Dalvin Cook got hurt, then Alexander Madison was getting all those stats. So, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield too. That's one part of his game that is often maybe just ignored. But he's a capable pass catcher out of the backfield as well. So, yeah, there are different ways to use him. So, but it would be good for McDaniel to bring in some more competition. But that's a move they already made, so they definitely have a role for him in mind.
Yeah. I hope he looks more like the Madison I saw with the Vikings, not necessarily with the Raiders. That's what I would like to see. And maybe it's a product of being in the Raiders where it wasn't a good offense. When you don't have a good quarterback, it allows the defense to focus on everything else because you're not afraid of Aiden O'Connell. So I kind of get that. And it's very important to fear the quarterback because that makes your weapons a lot more useful out there. If your quarterback is not a guy that they respect, like an Aiden O'Connell, then it's easier to figure out the rest of the team, which, that's kind of what ends up happening. All right, what do you got going on this Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Yeah, well, I'm taking this weekend off to go to Orlando and
Slacker.
Yeah, right. I wrote so much over the past 2 weeks of free agency. I'm entitled to a little bit of time. And then we have interviews coming up early next week with a lot of these new free agents. So I'll be catching up on those. Some of those I might miss because I'm still coming back or whatever. But then we'll have content on what these new free agents are saying as they come to the Miami Dolphins. So check that out at sunsentinel.com.
All right, good stuff. Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, have a great weekend. Enjoy Orlando, my friend. We will catch up on Tuesday.
All right. Thank you.
You got it. There you go. David Furones, Welton Ray. We love talking about Jeff Welt and Daniel Rayom, two ass kickers. That's what I call them. Yes, they're great lawyers, but they're ass kickers because that's what they do when they get into that courtroom. They kick for you. They kick some serious ass. I saw it in person. Many of our listeners have already experienced it all over the state of Florida, which is pretty cool. It's not just our listeners here in South Florida, but on the west coast of Florida and Central Florida. You can call them. Jeff Welt, Daniel Rayom. The consultation's completely free. So if something happened to you don't know if you have a case, call them. Consultation free. 954-966-4646. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, personal injury, condo damage, commercial litigation, business owner claims, criminal defense, all of that. WRFLAlaw.com. Call my guys, Jeff Welt and Daniel Rayom. Welt and Rayom.
This has been another session of the Welton Ray Miami Dolphins Report with David Furones. At Welton Ray, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Ray can help.
All right, let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. The amazing Alan Blanco. Listen, if your company, you need some new uniforms or shirts or hats, whatever it is, maybe your group is going on some kind of a journey, some kind of a field trip, school, whatever, and you want to get everybody the same T-shirt, so you're all, all like spotted in the same place and you stand out. You know what I'm saying? Call 3A Graphics, because we had a listener. I say that because we had a listener, and it was out of state actually, and called Alan Blanco, and their whole group, it was like 150 people, and they were doing a picnic. It wasn't going. I was thinking like you go to Disney World, because I've seen them, and they were having a picnic, and so they wanted shirts for the entire picnic. And so they called Alan Blanco, and they got it, and out of state. One of our listeners. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Did not expect it in Georgia. Anyway, 786-618-1443, custom printing and embroidery. They do all of that by email and Zoom and all that. So it's not something that people actually go. So if you need it, call them 786-618-1443, custom printing and embroidery. They'll get it done for you. Tell them that Big O sent you. Last night, Panthers over the Blue Jackets, 1-0. Barkov with the goal, Bob with 25 saves. Tomorrow, big game, man. They end this long-ass road trip in Washington, 5 o'clock. Looking forward to that. Tonight at 8 o'clock, the Heat are hosting the Rockets. Rockets are favored by 5.5. The Heat, the over and under is 214.5. Rockets minus 205 on the money line. The Heat are plus 170 on the money line. Last night, in CONCACAF Nations League, it is Panama over USA. Yeah, USA choked. Panama won 1-0. Cecilio Waterman with the goal in the 94th minute. Panama advances to the finals. They will take on Mexico, who defeated Canada 2-0. So there you go. Sunday night will be the final at 9:30, Mexico and Panama. The consolation game will be at 6. I will not be watching Canada and USA for third place. Who cares? Tomorrow night, 7:30 in Davie, beyond Bankcard Field, Fort Lauderdale United hosting Spokane FC. The number one team in the USL Super League standings is your Fort Lauderdale United. Go support the ladies. 7:30 tomorrow night against Spokane. And what else do we have going on? Oh, yes. NSU, the Sharks, on Tuesday, March 25th. They will start their run in the Elite Eight. They are taking on Assumption University, 7 o'clock on Tuesday in Evansville, Indiana, in the Ford Center. That is your 3A Graphics sports calendar. Assumption University. Did you know that there was an Assumption University? Don't assume that there was an Assumption University. But if you would have assumed, you would have been right. So, I mean, that's kind of trippy. Assumption University. I just never, ever expected that. That one threw me off. They're the 8th seed, by the way, of course, because our Nova University is the number 1 seed. But Assumption University. Never heard of it in my life. Never heard of it. Do you know where Assumption University is, Sean Stanley?
I'm going to guess and say it's in Georgia.
You're assuming?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, you assume wrong, of course. The location is in Worcester, Massachusetts. Assumption University. Okay, Assumption College started in 1904. All right. It's a private university. Dude, it was established on my birthday. October 1st, 1904, 120 years ago. Congregation of the Augustinians of the Assumption, Roman Catholics. The endowment is 93.9 million. Okay, they have 2,349 students, 1,955 undergraduates, 394 postgraduates. Okay, the mascot is Pierre the Greyhound. The Assumption University Greyhounds. Okay, that's right, baby. So there you go. Did you guys know that there was an Assumption University? That's amazing. If you assumed it, you were right. All right, let's get to our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report.
The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. If you're a Miami sports fan, there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Wear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Wear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro. Exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
Right. So, Manny, you know, you've been covering this for a long, long time. Did you know that there was an Assumption University?
I did come across the name Assumption University not too long ago.
Really? For what?
Dude, there's just I do a lot of research on like FCS and D2 and NIA just because I'm looking at where some of these players come from in the transfer portal. And I remember reading in Assumption University at one point. So, yes, I've heard of Assumption University. There's a lot of crazy names, brother, out there.
I had no idea. I mean, if we would have assumed, you know, we would have been right on Assumption University there, you know, or as Skylar Tipton on the chat board says, oh, their slogan has to be Assumption University, where we make an ass out of you and me. So because Nova Southeastern, you know, the Sharks are always in the mix, so they're in the Elite Eight and they're going for it, and they're the number 1 seed, and the number 8 seed that they're taking on is Assumption University. And I saw that, I was like, what the hell is that, dude? That's funny.
Dude, there's thousands of schools nobody's ever heard of, but they're out there. They exist.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. Assumption University. That is a trip. All right, man. So the Canes had their first padded practice. Tell us what Cristobal and Mirabal and Taylor and Damian Lewis and all the boys had to say about what they saw in the padded practice. What do you know?
Well, they're going to have their first padded practice on Saturday. Right. They're going to have it, but they're basically through all the little, you know, soft stuff. So Saturday will be the first one that they get to go out there, and I'm sure they're going to scrimmage, which they always do this time of year, right? You get usually two real scrimmages in, and then the spring game you show nothing, right? Because the public is watching. So we will find out what happens tomorrow when they have their first padded practice. But I think to this point, you know, coaches are excited about, you know, some of the young players that have developed. Again, you think about where Mario is with this program going into year 4. He spent a lot of time recruiting, upgrading the offensive and defensive lines, retooling the secondary. You know, this week we got to hear from the offensive line and defensive line coaches. And I think that, you know, we're seeing different guys stand out. We're seeing, you know, guys develop. You're losing Simeon Barrow and CJ Clark, 2 veterans on the defensive line. Miami went out, got David Blay from Louisiana Tech. He's the veteran transfer, but the guy to watch that's really, I think, blowing up is Justin Scott. He was the 5-star that Mario got, not this past year, but the year before. I think he's really taken off there. And then I think on the offensive line, a guy who's been at Miami for a long, long time, started the season last year with the first team at Florida at guard, is Ryan Rodriguez. Ryan Rodriguez ends up getting hurt, misses the rest of the year. Well, he's back with the first team right now. I think he's competing with Matthew McCoy for that left guard spot to basically take over there, and so he's in the competition there. And then you have Inez Cooper, who's pretty much been the star to this point, I think, on the offensive line at right guard. He's a veteran who's back. So all of those guys are doing well. You're having a bunch of young guys that are developing behind them. So the one thing I will say is it feels like the offensive and defensive lines are finally getting to where Mario really wants them to be. And they've been better since he got here. But I think depth-wise, you're talking about, do they have guys to replace injured players if injuries happen? I think they're starting to get to that point now.
Yeah. The one thing that I wanted to ask from what we know is obviously Beck's not going to practice. How important is it for these practices for the backup?
Yeah.
Because God forbid Carson has some kind of a setback or something, you're going to need the other guys to bail your ass out.
Yeah, I had a friend who attended practice this week who's a scout, and he said to me, they're a 7 to 8 win team without Carson Beck, because that's the big difference in terms of the quarterback drop-off. Wow. Right now, Emory Williams, I think, is ahead of Judd Anderson. Judd Anderson is the one, returning guy who redshirted last year. Anderson, from what I've been told, takes a little too long to get rid of the football. Huge arm, but still a project, still a guy that you look at the offensive coordinator and Shannon Dawson, it was kind of a project that he took on. Anderson's a big dude, 6'7", big arm, all of that, but still too slow getting rid of the football. So my early reports are that Emory Williams looks like the best backup. I know there's a lot of excitement over Luke Nickel, the freshman who got on campus. But watching Luke Nickel with my own eyes, the first day of practice, I was a little like, wow, this guy's kind of small compared to the other two dudes. And Miami's got that big offensive line. So I think right now, if you were to ask me an honest assessment after 4 practices where Miami is with quarterback, just say, let's hope Carson Beck is healthy this fall. Because if he is, then I think this is a playoff contender. I think without him, they're not.
All right. Any freshmen to look at?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of freshmen that are doing a good job, but one name that really popped out this week was Donta Simpson, a kid out of Hollywood Chaminade, a 3-star defensive lineman who I think is fighting to get into that rotation. I talked about Simeon Barrow and CJ Clark leaving. Justin Scott and David Blay are probably going to be your starters, with Ahmad Moten providing a little bit of depth, but you need a 4th defensive tackle, a guy who can be a big body, help stuff the run. And I think we're hearing a lot of buzz about Donta Simpson. My buddy who was at practice this week told me that he looks the part. He looks like he can be a real contributor. Reminds him of John Ford, who played at Miami and was a big-time contributor here for a long time. So I think that's one guy that's standing out. And I think, if we're being honest, I think all 3 freshman receivers, Malachi Nelson, Josh Moore, and the other kid that they got, number 13, Dalen Upshaw. I'm looking at the roster. I'm trying to remember his name. I think all 3 of those guys have really looked good in camp. So I think all 3 of them will be in the rotation. Ultimately, JoJo Trader, who's a sophomore, I think is the number 1 guy. But I think all 3 of the freshmen who arrived on campus early are going to be in the rotation and play a lot this year.
And Lofton will be the number 1 tight end?
I think so. Ultimately, though, Lofton is a guy I think is going to line up in the backfield too. Maybe not get a ton of carries, but I think get out and catch passes out of the backfield.
Like an H, so he's like an H-back?
Yeah, I think he's like an H-back. He's just a little undersized compared to the other bigger tight ends. Like, I think when you see Lofton in the game, he is going to be getting the ball in his hands or being a decoy in terms of, getting the defense to concentrate on him. I think when Miami wants to run the football, or they want to be a team that just tries to push opponents back, I think you're going to see the other tight ends in the game. So he will be the guy who catches the most passes at the quote unquote tight end H-back type role. But I also think you will see him in the backfield some and see him get some carries, especially around the goal line, because he's such a big dude, strong dude, and he's good. He's a really good weapon.
All right. Remember, folks, you can use our code BIGO10. You'll get 10% off there at Caneswear. Check them out at 2655 South University Drive in Davie. We are going to be there on Tuesday, actually, broadcasting live this week at Caneswear. So come on by and say hi. Great opportunity to get some stuff. Inter Miami gear, Miami Heat. They might have to put that stuff on discount soon. Anyways, Miami Marlins gear, that's already been discounted right there. And they got all kinds of stuff there. Miami Dolphins gear, so check it out. They got anything and everything with the Canes logo on it. And, of course, you can get 10% off if you use our code BIGO10. And if you order over $99, you will get free shipping at caneswear.com.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
We step into the world of big dreams, big moves, and big money. It's the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. After 40 years, the Big Cheese remains dedicated to serving the finest Italian dinners, pizza, pasta, subs, and salads. All of their pasta is imported from Italy and cooked fresh every day. Visit BigCheeseMiami.com. Now, let's find out who's the Big Cheese the Miami Hurricanes are working on with insider Manny Navarro.
All right. Let's talk about the Big Cheese. And, of course, you can enjoy the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. Get on down there, see Gary and all the great people. And we just lost Billy, and we had his wake a week ago, and he is the spirit that will live forever. He is the reason why the Big Cheese exists. Him and Gary put it together over 40 years ago, and it is still going strong. And keep Billy's spirit alive. Visit the Big Cheese. Order the Big Cheese. 305-662-6855. Remember, all the dishes. They come in meat sauce, tomato sauce, Alfredo sauce, pink sauce. You can have it your way, baby. BigCheeseMiami.com. And you can also order the party platters, too, for your friends, family members, co-workers, school, whatever it is. Order it, BigCheeseMiami.com. All right, Manny, they've had some Big Cheese visitors there at camp. Talk to us there about that.
Yeah, Jackson Cantwell is the number one player in the 2026 recruiting class. He's from Nixa, Missouri, 6'7.5", 300 pounds, and he just spent 3 days here with his parents, basically spending as much time as possible on campus. He's going to come back on May 9th to take his official visit here. Look, he's the number one player in the country. His recruitment is far from over, but I've shared with you before here on the show that obviously he is represented by the Rosenhaus, which obviously bodes well for Miami, considering how many Rosenhaus clients come from the University of Miami. So I think things are looking good with him. It's going to be a battle up until he makes his decision. But you talk about offensive line and getting special players and Mario and what a great recruiter he is, him and Alex Mirabal. This is their guy. This is the guy that they want. They want him to be their starting left tackle for years to come, the same way they got Francis Mauinoa, who was a 5-star, to be their anchor on the right side. This is next in the line of tradition. Miami will have to fight for him. You have Missouri, right? The hometown school who will be getting a visit from him. Georgia, Michigan, Oregon. There's a lot of schools that are in the running for Jackson Cantwell. But I think right now, in March, you talk about how he feels about the University of Miami. You talk about who represents him in NIL. I think things are boding well for Miami.
Okay. Any defensive prospects out there that Canes fans should be looking at?
Yeah, I mean, there's several guys that have passed by. Look, there's been tons of visitors. So you want a Rolodex of names. You can go to any of the Cane Sports or the 247, the Inside the U guys, and they'll have reports on every single one. But I think some notable ones from this week. Georgia safety Tyreek Green was on campus earlier this week. He's got an official visit now scheduled May 30th to June 1st. He's from Buford, Georgia. Miami's gotten guys out of Buford before. I've been to that school. It's ridiculous. The campus up there. It's like a football institution. And then the more interesting one that I kind of like is Jermichael Garrett. He's a 4-star linebacker. Last week, the staff sent him over a dozen handwritten letters. The kid's been committed to Auburn for a while, but essentially they're trying to sway him. I think it's kind of cool that they've done that. He's going to be on campus next week. He's going to visit in June. But right now, I think, you talk about Mario's recruiting efforts, the things his staff does. They had basically the entire staff send him handwritten letters to try to make him feel good. And the kid talked about it. He talked about how, that it made an impression on him that he got 12 handwritten letters from staffers at Miami. It wasn't just something that somebody else typed up, but the coaches themselves did it. So I think that was pretty cool.
All right. I like that. By the way, Favor Aki, I think is the kid's name, the running back that I think USC and Ohio State and Miami were in the final three. Do we know anything about that? Has that kid made a decision yet? Because supposedly he's like a stud running back.
Yeah, he's a kid out of Ohio. Right now, I think most of the experts think he's a 4-star kid. They think he's going to end up going to Ohio State. He does have an official visit lined up to USC and Miami as well in the month of June. I don't know that he is close yet to making any sort of announcements, but I do know that he's planning to take official visits. And my feeling is, and I'll tell everybody this who wants to know about recruiting, it's not over until the official visits are over. And even then, you never know when a new check comes in the mail, right? And something could end up switching a guy at the last minute. But usually the guys that make the decisions, they don't do it till after they're done with all their visits.
I was just intrigued because the guy's name is Favor. So I just wanted to ask you about that because just like, and I don't know, is his last name pronounced because it's A-K-I-H?
Akai. I think it's Favor Akai. Okay.
And what is it? Is it Favor?
Yeah, Favor. Yep.
Okay. Not Favor?
No, it's Favor from what I understand. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Good running back. Again, Miami's board for running backs is pretty large. They got a lot of guys that they're after at that position. Again,
it just caught my eye because Ohio State, USC, and Miami are his final three.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, dude, then you must have some skills if Ohio State and USC want your ass, and you're down to Ohio State, USC, and Miami. That's pretty good company. I like that. Years ago, like 4, 5, 6 years ago, we were going for a guy that was like deciding between Tulane and Army and Bowling Green and Miami, and so those were things that were like kind of depressing. And
Yes.
I was taking medication for it. Now I'm off the medication because now I like hearing that the kid is deciding between Ohio State, USC, and Miami. That's what I like to see, then that tells me, yeah, you might be recruiting the right kid there. If you're fighting Northeast Missouri State for the kid, I don't know if you're recruiting the right kid at this moment right now,
No, talent still wins out. And look, not all of them are going to be hits, right? We've seen it across the board. I've studied this for a long time. There's basically half your recruiting class these days is not going to end up doing shit. Like, it's just the way it is. Like, you're going to sign 30 guys and 15 of them will be contributors or starters. 4 of them might be excellent players. Like, that's just the way that it works. It's like a lottery. But I think the fact that they are picking from a better group is going to improve things overall. And that's what ultimately you have with Mario. He's in the running for a lot of good players.
Yeah, and I hate to have to say this, but because Mario doesn't seem to me like a real difference maker on the sidelines, he's more of a raw guy. He's the kind of coach that needs to load it up with as much talent as possible because he's not the guy that's going to win with less talent because he outcoached the other person. He's got to have as much talent as possible. So I hope he's able to, because there's no doubt nobody's going to work their asses off more than he is for recruiting, but he is the kind of coach that really needs to stack it favorably to his side.
And let's face it, go back in the days when Miami was winning national championships. Why were they winning national championships? Okay, the coaching was better, but they also had a shitload of talent all over the field. There was NFL guys all over. You can't sit here and say Larry Coker won because of his coaching.
No, but what Schnellenberger did was coaching.
Oh yeah, well Schnellenberger, Jimmy Johnson, I Dennis Erickson. I think those guys, they did it with scheme, right? Butch Davis when he was here, coached the hell out of the defense. They had Wanstead on the staff with Jimmy. I mean, they had dudes that could coach.
Yeah.
But I think if Mario can find guys, I mean, who knows? Maybe this Corey Heatherman guy turns out to be one of the best defensive coordinators in college football with some good players, right? Maybe he's to me, that's what it comes down to. Mario is a recruiter. And again, he's not alone. There's a lot of head coaches like him, right? That they accrue the talent, they work their butts off to raise money, to get in all that kind of stuff. And then they have the guys in the offensive and defensive coordinator spots that are the coaches, and it's up to them to get the job
done. Yep. Lenny Pena put por favor aquí. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and catch his work there at The Athletic. Better yet, subscribe. They always got great deals there to subscribe for The Athletic. And you can find out about everything going on in sports, not just with the Hurricanes. Manny, as always, my friend, have a great weekend. We will catch up on Tuesday. Thank you, sir.
Take care, brother.
You got it. There you go. The great Manny Navarro. And our BigCheeseMiami.com NIL and recruiting report.
You've been listening to the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. At the Big Cheese Miami, they continue to purchase the same high-quality ingredients that the most expensive Italian restaurants use. The difference is they serve large portions at a family price. Visit the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue in Miami. Call 305-662-6855 or go to thebigcheesemiami.com. Go Canes!
All right. Thank you all as always. And remember, we are out here at 15601 Pines Boulevard, where you can spring into performance. The number one Acura dealer in the USA is right here in your backyard, and the new ADX is in. I got a white one that's right there next to us over there. You can check it out. 190 horsepower turbo engine. Check it out. You're going to love it. Heated seats, power drive, 8-speaker premium auto, Apple CarPlay, Android, all that. So check it out. The ADX is a beautiful vehicle. Right now you can get the lease feature right now at $359 per month. The Integra 2025 model, you can get the 3.9% financing for 60 months. $339 a month. The ZDX 2024 model, $439 a month, 0% financing for 72 months on this 2024. The RDX 2025 model, $399 per month. They've got a special low financing rate. Tell them that Big O sent you. The MDX Tech, we can get $10,000 off the MSRP, and we've got a beautiful selection. That's one of the things you're going to love. Cars are overflowing on the lot, so you can pick the car you want, the color you want, the style you want, the model you want, the color you want, but more importantly, the price you want right here at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. All right. Did you see that Steph Curry got injured yesterday? He suffered a pelvic injury. Looked pretty brutal, right? And he was on the floor, hit the floor hard, got up gingerly, went to the bench. Then he had to go to the locker room. They barely beat the Raptors, by the way, 117-114. They now have a 6-game road trip that's coming up. Jimmy Butler played well. 16 points, 11 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Now he shot 4 of 15. Okay. But there is no Steph here, and I don't know how many games he's going to miss, but this is going to start to put a little more wear and tear on that body. So it's going to be interesting to see how Jimmy holds up now as they head into the playoffs. We shall see. What you got?
The only clip that ESPN showed that I saw was Butler getting the block with like a couple seconds left to save it. And then him and Draymond, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens now with no Steph, and you got to go on a road trip. We'll see what goes on. If he misses time, I don't even know, but it looked like he's going to miss a couple games. I mean, if you got the playoffs going on, I don't know what spot they're in the Western Conference because I know they're in the bottom part of it. I just don't know exactly where. But yeah, I saw that, and that was kind of interesting. Not that I'm going to talk about these people. I never do, except maybe to take a shot at them every once in a while. The Marlins are absolute garbage. Bruce Sherman has no business being in Major League Baseball, but I got to make money here. I'm going under 63.5, right? I saw the over and under, and I made some money last year. So but it's minus 120 under 63.5. I'm sorry, over 63.5. Under is plus 100. I like it. They're going to lose 100 games. I think that's a good bet. Remember, Sandy will not be here for the whole year. Sandy will have a good first couple of months, and then they'll trade him. That's it. All people are waiting for is to see if Sandy's healthy and pitching well, and they'll open up the year with Paul Skeens and Sandy on Tuesday. I think it is, right? I want to say, no, Thursday, March 27th at 4:10. Okay. So if Sandy pitches well for the first couple of months, he's gone. So you're not going to have any kind of an ace anymore after that. This team will lose 105, 110, 115 games. They'll go over 105 losses. I believe this is going to be a really bad baseball team. So what do you think? Over 100, right?
Oh no, that's easy bet. That's easy money.
Under 63.5 wins for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, with that roster, yes.
I am not a betting expert, just like I'm not a financial expert, by the way. Just so you'll know, y'all do your thing. Okay. Amanda, thank you again for the super chat. Very nice of you. The Heat are tanking, but they're not tanking on purpose. They're tanking because they're incompetent. They're losing 9 in a row because they're incompetent, because the front office has done a miserable job for 10 years now. So that's what's going on. So they're not really trying to tank, but they suck organically. This is all natural here. Okay? This is all Helen Mirren. All natural. Okay? Yes, sir.
So the Warriors are 9-1 in their last 10.
Yes.
They're number 6 now.
Number 6.
Yes, but 7 and 8 are both a game and a half from them. And then the Kings are 9, but they're about 5.5 games behind. So
yeah, it's a little.
They could fall 7 to 8.
Yeah, that's a little too much to go to 9 with 13 games left, 12 games left, 14 games. I don't know, depending on what your team is, but there's not that much. So we'll see. But I like it. I like taking the Marlins losing over 100 games. Damn. I mean, I won't watch it, but at least I'll check the score at the end of the night going, yeah, another loss. Let's go. chalk it up. Come on, baby. We know you can choke it away.
You might get that early, by the way.
I think so.
I mean, like, you might get out the way.
I think so. I think by the beginning of September, late August, I'm like in the money already.
Yeah,
pretty
probably.
close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. I might get into the money, and by early September, I'm in the money. I'm in the money by early September. But yeah, there's no doubt in my mind they're going to lose over 100 games. It's amazing how bad they're going to be. It's amazing how despicable they are about all of this. By the way, can you explain to me this whole 7.2 thing for WPLG? How is it that I find that on my TV? It's got to be an app then? Okay, but I don't have analog. I have a smart TV. They said yesterday they're going to have this big old campaign to explain it. But does anybody have will we have like a WSVN app for channel 7 and then a 7.2 app for ABC? For ABC? Not channel 10, I got to say ABC. It's kind of weird, right? Because we don't have like dials anymore. And your remote doesn't put 7.2. That's what they kept saying. Yeah, no, we got you. Don't worry about it. Don't get confused. It's 7.2. Bitch, I ain't got no 7.2 on my TV. I got a smart TV. How you talk about 7.2? So it's just kind of weird about that. I saw that and I was like, what the hell are you people talking about? You're confusing me. I'm not very smart here as it is. You're already confusing me on this. What is wrong with you people? That's basically what I was going through. So if anybody can explain it to me, how in the hell we're going to get the ABC stuff, I would love to know. Would love to know. All right, let's get to a little music stuff here before I continue with a little deportes. And by the way, let's make some money. Marlins are going to make us some money. I was thinking about this too throughout the year. Should I just bet against the Marlins every day? No, the problem is that the money lines will be so negative. It's just,
They'll get out of control after a while.
Yeah. All right, let's get to musicians celebrating birthdays today. We start off with Jonas Berggren, the guitarist, keyboardist with the Swedish group Ace of Base. All that she wants is another baby. Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have? Sean Dixon from the Soup Dragons, born in 1967. Robert Johnson, singer with the disco funk group KC and the Sunshine Band, born in 53. Conrad Lozano, musician, bass player with Los Lobos, born in 51. Russell Tompkins Jr., singer with the Philadelphia soul group, the Stylistics. You make me feel brand new. Anyway, I sing this song for you. 51 for him. Roger Hodgson. 1950, Supertramp. Dreamer, nothing but a dreamer. Eddie Murray. I'm sorry, Eddie Murray. I'm thinking baseball. Eddie Money. We got 2 tickets to paradise, baby. 1949. Rest in peace. We lost him in 2019 at the age of 70. Ray Dorset, guitarist, singer, songwriter, founding member of Mungo Jerry. A little summertime. What else do we have? Rosemary Stone, vocalist, piano with Sly and the Family Stone, born in 1945. Who else? That is it for musicians. Now let's go with other famous folk celebrating birthdays today. Ronaldinho, futbolista. He is 45. Gary Oldman, actor, 67 years old. Let's see. Antonio Griezmann, futbolista. He is 34. Adrian Switch Peterson, football player. He is 50. Remember, he hit his kids with a switch? All right. Rosie O'Donnell, she is 63 today. Scott Eastwood, movie actor, 39. Matthew Broderick is 63, the actor. DJ Premier is 59. Sebastian Bach, composer, born in 1685 on this date. We just lost him recently in 1750. Just, Jasmine Savoy Brown. I just love that name. She's a TV actress. She is 31. Jasmine Savoy Brown. It's just it's a pretty cool name, I got to say. Who else is celebrating birthdays today? Oh, I see a wrestler there. And we are done with famous people. Sean Stanley, sir, do you have wrestlers born today?
Yes, we do. Killer Kelly, she turns 33. This is the one I think you had. Grayson Waller, he turns 35. Chris Candido, who we lost way too early, was born on this date in 1972. And we lost him in 2005. And for my first time, Salvador Luderoth Gonzalez was born in 1897. Sadly, he passed away in 1987, but he's known for founding CMLL and popularizing Lucha Libre.
Yeah, leave it to
in
us.
Mexico.
And again, he took it easy on everybody. He only has 3 names.
Well, that's what they put in there. I don't know. I didn't go check to see if there's more, but
only 3 names, and they were like long names.
Yes,
by the way.
Yeah.
What was it again?
I believe it's Salvador. It's Lutteroth.
Okay.
To me, I say Luderoth. I don't know if there's another way. And Gonzalez.
All right. And there's probably De La Paz, Cruz, Sol, Hernandez, following all of that.
A lot more going on. But those are your birthdays for March 21st, 2025.
Yeah. Us Hispanic people, let's shorten our freaking names, bro. Come on. Let's go. All right, let's go with music history. What happened today in music history? We all wonder what happened on March 21st in music history. Well, in 94, Bruce Springsteen won the Academy Award for Best Original Song for Streets of Philadelphia, his contribution to the film Philadelphia. In 2005, MTV aired the final episode of The Osbournes. On it, the dysfunctional metal family got paid a visit from Dr. Phil. In 83, Pink Floyd released The Final Cut, their last album recorded with Roger, the stinking anti-Semite Waters, that pig. In 2009, U2 went to #1 on the album charts with their 12th studio album, No Line on the Horizon. What a great album that is. In 1970, The Faces with new singer Rod Stewart released their debut album, First Step. In 81 on this date, REO Speedwagon's Keep on Loving You was number 1 on the charts. And that's what happened today in Musica history. All right. Big O, I paired the under 63 with an Inter Miami championship. Wow. So if you pick it, then you go to another sport and pick that, it'll pick up the parlay. Okay. I like that, bro. What were the odds on that shit? That's pretty good. Because Inter has to win it this year. Like, if they don't, it'll become like one of the biggest just choke jobs, screw ups ever. You can't spend this kind of money and have a way better roster than everybody else and not win. You can't have the best player in the world and not win in one of the easiest leagues, right? Supposedly. It's such an easy league. So that's interesting. Can you do that for me? Just pick that parlay and that he just picked right now and tell me what it pays. So that's a great parlay right there. I like that one. Because I don't know if it'll be great odds. Because, I mean, Inter Miami should be heavily favored. And Miami Marlins should be heavily favored to lose 100 games. Oh, man. You will still make money betting against them every day. It's an interesting strategy. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that because the winnings won't be as much because of the negative number to it. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm just going to bet that they're going to lose over 100 games. And that, to me, is money in the bank. Big O, you think this is the worst head coach we've ever... No, I'm not saying it's the worst head coach because Cam Cameron was really, really bad. And Flo, while he knew defense, God, he was so bad on offense. Adam Gase would frustrate the shit out of me. Dave Wanstead was too conservative. Listen, who gives a shit about the rankings in the end? If he's the worst or second or third worst. The bottom line is Mike McDaniel's incompetent. He's not a good coach. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So it doesn't matter what Chris Greer does. He had a heck of an offseason last year. That team was way better than how it ended. I'm sorry. I just, it's really, I'm not going to, beat my head in and worry about how bad he is, if he's the worst, second worst, third worst. All I know is I have zero enthusiasm for the Dolphins this year because of that guy. And that's frustrating for me, dude. Frustrating as hell. Because I want to get excited. I'm going to watch it, but I'm just going to watch it with just trepidation. I'm just going to watch it with just expecting. It's like, you know how I'm going to watch it? Like I watch the Heat now. Expecting the worst, expecting a bad team, expecting a loss, expecting them not to get it done. That's how I'm going to watch the Dolphins this year because of that guy. Because he doesn't know how to prepare a winner. So, that's to worry about where he ranks and how bad of a coach he is with the Dolphins. That's the least of my concerns. My real concern is I have very little enthusiasm for this season because of him. And I believe he's had a playoff team every year. But I just don't believe he knows how to prepare a team, which just absolutely sucks. Ray Grullon says, I remember back in the day when CBS changed to NBC. Yeah, I remember that too. And CIX was Channel 6, and it became NBC 6. But CIX was, Channel 6 was our local affiliate. That was if I remember correctly, Channel 6 was the Channel 7, was the independent channel. And then Channel 7 became the independent channel. And then when Fox came onto the scene, they became Fox. But if you remember correctly, if you're old enough, WCIX Channel 6 was the independent channel here locally. I think that's the one that would carry Notre Dame basketball, the Yankees, if I remember correctly. When I was a kid, we would have the Yankee games here and Braves games too. But I believe 6 was the one that would carry the Yankee games. Yeah. And they would definitely carry Notre Dame basketball because I remember that oh God, what's his name with the Jackets was the coach. Kelly Tripucka was the player. Orlando Woolridge was the player back in those days. God, what was that coach's name now? Yeah, we've talked about this before. But yeah, I remember back in the day with Channel 6. Those were the days, man. Big Wilson, all of that. I loved Channel 6 growing up as a kid. Creature Feature, all that kind of stuff. It was fantastic. That was our local channel back in the day. Was Channel 6. Yeah, Ray says good memories. Oh yeah, very good memories back in the day. Yeah, man, I remember that. That was good stuff. Caitlin Clark, by the way, you're going to get a heavy dosage of Caitlin Clark this year. How cool is that? You know, the WNBA has done a piss poor job of handling the Caitlin Clark situation and being able to maximize it, right? Well, this year they're maximizing it. Okay, check this out. The WNBA national broadcast schedule for the 25 season has been released. Clark's Indiana Fever will have 41 of their 44 games on national television or streaming. That will put them on. That will put them in a place front and center for the audience. It's a record amount of national TV games for a WNBA team. 5 games on ABC, 5 games on ESPN, 8 games on ION, 6 games on Prime Video, 3 games on CBS, 4 games on CBS Sports Network, and 10 games on NBA TV. The Fever's regular season begins May 17th, ends September 9th. And there's a very good reason why Clark's Fever will be on national television. Why? WNBA games featuring Clark last season averaged nearly 1.2 million viewers, which tripled the viewership for the average WNBA nationally televised game that did not involve Clark. That tripled the viewership of the average WNBA game nationally televised without Clark. Caitlin Clark's games get 3 times the amount of eyes than a regular WNBA game. Somebody tell Reese that, because she thinks everybody's watching her throw bricks up every single time. That's ridiculous. Okay, the overall WNBA average attendance saw a 48% increase from 23 to 24. I wonder why. So, smart move by the WNBA. You got to draw, go put it out there, man. Go put it. And by the way, they were very active this offseason. They did a nice job of building a better team around her. That team's going to challenge. That's going to be a fun thing to watch, and I'm really jacked to see her play because I think she's going to bring it, dude. I think she is going to just absolutely bring it. and she's going to want to stick it to people. And I bet you she's going to be physically in the best shape she's ever been in. And she's going to be stronger, like most rookies when they kind of get their, they figure out things, and then they've got to then, get better at it and physically get better. Something tells me that that's going to end up happening. Okay. All right. By the way, last night, we always like to find a MVP of the night. And last night, I got to say, a Cutter's Edge Pro MVP of the night stood out.
Who's last night's MVP? For your complete landscape solutions anywhere in South Florida, there's only one MVP. CuttersEdgePro.com. Here's our CuttersEdgePro.com MVP of the night.
Panthers are in the middle of a brutal 6-game road trip. Okay, it started in Toronto and it will end in Washington tomorrow. And last night they were at it with the Blue Jackets. Not an easy team to beat. Former team for Bob. And it was a tight game. It was a 1-0 game. Okay. And who the hell made it 1-0? Alexander Barkov. And the captain, and this is a moment where your other captain, the leader of the team, actually, the inspirational leader in every way, shape, and form, the face of what could be the team now, Matthew Tkachuk, right, is out. You've got Ekblad out. You've got some turnover going on right now. You need people to step up and get things done. This is the moment where a guy like Alexander Barkov is needed. And he is a quiet giant. He is a force on both ends of the ice. And last night, there wasn't a lot of scoring going on either side. And you only needed one to decide it. And the captain stood up for it one more time, dude. And the best thing that ever happened to Alexander Barkov is Matthew Tkachuk. The guy that can take all the pressure, loves to be the lightning rod, brings the emotion, and at the same time, he's actually brought more emotion out of Barkov than anybody has ever had, which is an absolutely pretty damn impressive thing. And last night, man, again, the captain comes up with the big goal, and that's why he is our Cutter's Edge Pro MVP of the night.
The MVP of the night is brought to you by CuttersEdgePro.com. Servicing HOAs, condominiums, townhomes, commercial properties, corporate parks, and malls throughout South Florida. CuttersEdgePro.com. Providing South Florida MVP performance every day of the year.
Right. Go see my guy, William Quigley. Great people, man. They know how to get it done. They are absolutely amazing. And you're going to love them. By the way, we are trying to go to Spain. And I saw you had the billboard up there, trying to go to Spain. So you guys can help us get to Spain. Okay. We want to go for, this might be the one special game of the year for the Miami Dolphins. We want to be there. As a Spanish guy, by the way, it would be pretty cool to go visit Spain. And we're going to do it at a Dolphins bar. We want to, at least. We have not even gotten to the first stage yet here. So you got to help us. And we need your help. So if you can make a donation, please use that QR code. Help us get to Spain. We'll do the show there all week long. We'll do the pre and post game show and break any news that might be happening out there. So if you can, use that QR code, use your phone, put it on photo, focus on that QR code, and make whatever donation you can to help us get to Spain. We'd appreciate that immensely. Amanda Medeiros, thank you again for another super chat. Very kind. Thank you. Without Tkachuk, Panthers seem a bit lost. He's our engine. No, I just think it's a tough stretch, and you're missing a couple of pieces. they'll be able to overcome. Are they going to be at their best? No, of course not. But once you get Marshawn in the mix, you get Ekblad back, you get Kachuk back, then and with all the other studs, we'll be fine. I have zero concerns about. And here's the other thing, Amanda. Home ice means nothing in the NHL. Nothing whatsoever. So if they're the 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 3 seed, the 4 seed, I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter to me. They're good enough to get to the finals. As long as they're healthy when the playoffs roll around, I'm going to feel great. Absolutely fantastic about the Panthers. You have any concerns about the Panthers, right? Right? It's just that what they did last year to get back to the finals and win it after getting there the year before and getting, eliminated, that takes mental fortitude that is at another level. And that's why I have no concerns. The toughness that team brings to the table is absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, I'm not concerned at all, Amanda. I am not concerned at all. I think the Panthers are probably mentally one of the toughest teams I've ever seen here in South Florida. And it reminds me a lot of the 70s Dolphins to lose that first Super Bowl and then come back and win the next two. That just tells you how special that team was. So yeah, I'm not concerned at all. Man, I hope you're wrong about this Dolphin season. I do not want to start over. Neither do I, Dolphin Dave. You think I want to start over? No, dude. I was really pumped up about this whole thing, and I thought it was going to work out, but you got to have the right head coach, man. And unfortunately, the front office couldn't nail the head coach. They got it wrong with Flo, and now they got it wrong with Mike McDaniel. And again, I'm not the guy that picks on their personnel decisions. Are they perfect? No, of course not. But man, they're way better than what we've had here. You know what I'll give you something that I tripped out on. It's the whole monogamy thing, but it's like everybody kills him for Eichenberg, right? But then nobody mentions that they hit on Austin Jackson and they hit Rob Hunt and they hit the dude that they traded to Houston and now got traded again, Tunsil. And they found Connor, who did a terrific job in free agency for them at center. And now they found this kid that did Brewer last year, who did a nice job. And we'll see if Patrick Paul turns out to be pretty good. But everybody just kills him for Eichenberg. I just find that kind of funny because they've hit on other picks. Sure, Eichenberg sucked. Okay, Eichenberg was a bad pick. And why they even brought him back this year, I have no idea. And I've told you the story before that I've been ripped about Eichenberg, right, from the building. Right? I've told you the story, right? Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, Eichenberg, this, that, and whatever. And I give him the benefit of the doubt. Now I'm done with it. But, they've hit on other linemen. Everybody picks on him for Eichenberg, but if you compare it to prior personnel departments who weren't hitting on any linemen, these guys actually hit on linemen.
Yeah, I think more of the issue is the fact that they brought him back. And then also when they said,
but when they say they can't pick linemen, they actually can pick linemen.
Yeah.
But they can't pick linemen. Look at Liam Eichenberg. Well, yeah, but bro, you left out like Tunsil. You left out like Rob Hunt. But people, but that's what they say. Oh, they can't get linemen. They've got Eichenberg. Well, and again, I think they can pick linemen. I think the coach put no value on guards, and he killed his own momentum because he made the front office. No, we don't have to focus because the front office spent a pick on Hunt. He's a guard. So the front office cares about guards, but then you have a coach that says, no, we can coach up anybody at guard. And then that didn't work out. That's why I'm convinced they're going to get a guard here. I'm convinced. They spent money on a guard, and now they're going to draft a guard. I'm convinced of that. First or second round, there'll be a guard. I guarantee you they're going to be a guard. So I just, again, this is why I don't kill the personnel department like a lot of you do. You can kill them for the head coaching. And that's where I think they've really ruined everything. Because I thought last year's team was way better. And with a real coach, you win more games. But it's not like they're that bad. Like what we used to have, they never found anything. All the picks were bad. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's just an odd thing. And I don't know. Listen, in the end, I feel terrible because it's like what Dolphin Dave says. He doesn't want to restart, and I don't want to restart either, but it's almost like I feel like that's the inevitable. That's what's going to happen. Because I just don't see Mike McDaniel saving our asses. I just don't. You know? What bothers me is that the front office hit on a terrific guard and Hunt, but made the mistake of not well, none of us wanted to pay. I'm guilty, Lenny. I'll admit. I was right up there. No, you can't pay him $20 million. Now, in hindsight, as I've admitted, I was wrong. But most of us did not want to pay him. We were all in agreement. Oh, yeah, no, $20 million is too much for a guard. But the problem is, dude, the salaries just go up. And before you know it, we talked about this before. I used the Goran Dragic example. Remember, we complained about Goran Dragic's salary when they first signed. Oh, how are the Heat paying him that much? And then 2 years later, we're like, well, yeah, the Goran Dragic salary, it's the Duncan Robinson salary. It's not really, if he's shooting well, it wasn't really a big deal. It's just, I screwed up there. So that's where Lenny, I don't know exactly how you felt, but I don't remember a lot of people saying pay Rob Hunt. At that time, right? Everybody was saying too much for the guard. There was some talk with Wilkins. There was more debate about paying Wilkins. Okay? There was debate. People wanted to pay Wilkins. I did not. And neither did they. So, I was good with Wilkins, and I was good with Rob Hunt going, but I made that was dumb on my part. And I would hope that in the front office, they're saying that too. And the head coach is saying that too. Like, yeah, you know what, bro? We shouldn't have let that guy go. We drafted a hell of a guard, and we should have kept him. But at that point, Lenny, at that time last year, most everybody to a man and woman was agreeing. Yeah, no, you can't pay him $20 million. You can't pay him $20 million. Well, guess what? That's the going rate for a great guard now. Whether you like it or video is still going on. Okay. All right. I think we're back. Let's see. Oh, where did you go? Okay, so now we're back. Okay. All right. Yep, we have a glitch in the matrix, as Skylar says. Big O, do you think post-June Miami should cut Ingold and Sanders to save $8 million in cap space? We got 5 extra picks in the last 3 rounds. Thoughts? I doubt they'll let go of Ingold because they used a fullback. And unless you have somebody to replace him with, I doubt it. But who knows what they'll do in June 1st to create more space if they have to create more space. That one I really can't answer. At least I'll answer partially on the Ingold part. I think Ingold's not going anywhere. Okay. Lenny says, I was on the same train of thought too, Big O. I admit it. I also didn't want them to pay too much for Hunt, but in hindsight, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we screwed up. You know? When you're right, you're right. And when you're wrong, and you got to admit it. And I was wrong. I was one of the people that said, don't pay Hunt. It's too much for a guard. I understand they got to let him go. And I was wrong. And they were wrong too. And any of you that said it, we all have to admit we looked at it the wrong way. And now we appreciate it even more. I mean, you know what? It is kind of stupid for us to even think the way we thought last year. Because we know our offensive lines constantly suck and aren't good enough. She's in this car. And we know that our offensive lines aren't constantly good enough. And it's like, okay, you have one of the better young guards in the league. You're going to let him go? Like, there's a team lined up ready to pay him $20 million. There's a reason why. So, yeah, keep him. And that was kind of crazy for us as Dolphins to think, no, let's let Rob Hunt go because it's $20 million. It's too much. No, dude, that's what the market bears. The guy's a hell of a player. Don't let him go. He's durable. He's reliable, consistent, brings great energy. That was another thing about Rob Hunt, right? He was like a cool dude, bro. Like a good vibe in the locker room, all of that. There was like a great pick by the front office. It hurt, man. It hurt. We screwed up. And lesson learned. The next time it happens, you know what it is? It's listening to people say, fire Pat Riley. Pat Riley should step down. And I'm like, yo, dude, you didn't live Shula. Don't do that again. And I've said that on this show many times. I'm not doing it. I'll tell you, hey, yo, Riley ain't doing it right. He's got to get better. But I would never, ever, ever be an ungrateful SOB and say Riley's got to go. Never, ever, because I was an ungrateful SOB by saying Shula's got to go. And are we better off since Shula left? Not at all. And we pushed the old man out for no effing reason. Why? Because he wasn't up to his own standard at the moment? Well, so what? He gave us everything. Riley's given us everything. So I'm never making that mistake again. You'll never hear me say fire Pat Riley. Never. I'll tell you he's not doing good enough right now, and he's got to get better, and he's got to figure it out. I'll tell you that. I have no problem with that, but I'll back that man up all the way to the end. Whenever he wants to go, that's fine. Just like Larinaga. If Larinaga thought it was fine, then go ahead. But I'm not pushing Larinaga out. And I'm not pushing Riley out. And the next time we have a guard, I ain't pushing him out. You got to learn your lessons, man. We got to learn it when we screw up. And I see it with some of you now. That's because you didn't live Shula. That's because you're too young. You weren't here in the mid-90s, or you were 5 years old or 6 years old at that time. So you have no understanding of what really went on. But those of us that lived it, we now know we're never better off. So the people that I see going after Riley now, I kind of go, yeah, that's not a good move, bro. I made that mistake a long time ago, and I'm not doing it again. I'm going to be grateful to the person that's brought it to the table, and I'm going to be supportive. I can disagree. I can say, hey, this is not right. That's what I'm doing. But I'm going to appreciate every moment that Riley's brought to the table, and I'm going to pray for him and hope for him to figure this shit out, because he deserves to go out on his terms, whatever it is, good or bad or indifferent. But he's earned that now. And that's what we should have done with Shula. Should have let him figure it out. And if he can't, then he then steps down. And then we thank him for everything that he did. We don't push him out. And I'm not pushing Shula out, and I ain't pushing out the next guard that we draft and develop. I'm going to say, pay the man his money. That's what I'm going to say, Rounders style. Pay the man his money. All right. Dolphin Dave says, yeah, that was bad with Shula. Yeah. At that moment, it wasn't. Oh, no, Jimmy's coming. Yeah, he's going to do what Dallas did. Bunch of idiots. That's what we were. Bunch of idiots. So, same with Mario. People wanted him out, and look what we got after him. Oh, Marino. I'm sorry. No, but Marino retired. That's not a good example, my brother. Marino retired. He was already old, and he was done. So we got all of Marino. What we ruined the Marino era by not building the right team around him. That's where Shula failed, unfortunately. Shula failed Marino. Sucks, but it is what it is. It's funny how Shula gave Woodstock a better supporting cast to get to the Super Bowl than Marino. More balanced, that is, There's no balance with Marino, dude. No balance. All passing, no running, all offense, no defense. It's no balance. No balance. It's just crazy. Anyway, we thank the great Larry Schlossberg, man, Mike Chan, Jordan Ferber out there in the service center. These people are amazing out here at Craig Zinn's, Acura, Pembroke Pines. We'll be back here next Friday, okay? Normally we take a week in between, but obviously with my concussion last week, they were able to accommodate us. We'll be back here next week. We thank the great Sean Stanley, as always, making it happen. If you do come on out here, please tell them that Big O sent you. They'll take care of you, man. And we always appreciate it. Love you all out there. If you made a donation to the show, thank you. Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you made a donation to help us get to Spain, we appreciate that. Or visit our amazing sponsors. Thank you always for that. We'll see you on Monday. Same time, same place, same bat channel.